So much of this movie makes no sense. And maybe that's intentional, like, who cares? Have a good time. Dumb fun. I'm getting sick of dumb fun. I'm getting tired of dumb fun. It's an excuse to make a shit movie. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another movie review here on Eric's House. Today we're talking The Monkey. Two young twin brothers come across this mysterious wind-up monkey toy. Don't call it a toy, they say, because if you wind this thing up and it starts drumming, a crazy, wild, outrageous death is about to occur nearby. And these deaths tear the family apart. The brothers go their separate ways as they grow up. 25 years later, the wild and crazy deaths resume and they have to reconnect. Sounds pretty damn badass. How do you screw that up? This is a Stephen King adaptation. Now, I don't remember ever reading this short story. I may have back when I was a teenager because I've read so much Stephen King, but this one didn't stick with me, so I had no clue how the story was going to go or anything. Just went in excited, hoping it would be a great movie. I figured the deaths would at least be awesome. And I am here to say they got that part right. Starting with some positives. I'll start positive because I did not really like this movie, but I will start with some positives. First of all, the look of the monkey is pretty awesome. You can see almost in his eyes, even though he doesn't move, he doesn't talk, they don't go in that direction. It's not full Chucky or anything. It's just a toy, but you can somehow see the life in the eyes and the darkness in the eyes. Like, that's an evil little monkey. And when it starts its drumming, boom, 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 that just the sound of it, the echo of it, it's like, oh man, something bad's about to go down. And every time that happens, the death that's about to happen, sometimes we kind of have an idea what's going to happen, because there are some things going on, like, oh, that's probably how this one's going to go down, but you don't really know completely because most of the deaths are completely supernatural. They don't really make sense within the laws of physics within this earth, but then again, neither does the monkey. So just kind of on for the ride with these kills. You never know what's going to happen, but they're going to be wild, insane, crazy, some funny, some just like, oh! I mean, the kills and all the effects and everything are pretty awesome. It's definitely gruesome, it's definitely crazy, and it's definitely entertaining. Other than that, the story is kind of weak, although there are times when I feel a little intrigue, when I feel a little suspense. I mentioned the two twins, Hal and Bill. You have Hal, he wears glasses. He's a little bit more of an outcast. You have Bill, who's a complete jerk growing up. He's kind of a bully. This divided relationship is a big cause of the problems they have with this monkey. Later on in life, Hal has a son, and he doesn't really like to spend too much time with his son. He doesn't want to pass down this evil, this terror that's taken over his life due to this monkey because his father had the same situation dealing with this monkey. So understandably, he doesn't want his son too close to him. And when he has him for a week and all this stuff is going down, it is interesting. And I do find some intrigue in how things are going to pan out. I mean, because I kind of did care a little bit about that relationship. So, I mean, there was a little bit of intrigue. I don't want to get in specifics here. I may do a spoiler review on this to really get into my problems with it. But I'll just say there were times I was interested in the story a little bit. In other words, the stuff that's bad didn't take me out of it so much that I didn't care at all. I would still try, when I would see something cringe or something I didn't like, or just like, oh God, this is bad, or something that didn't make sense, I would usually get back into it and be interested in it. I think that there were some good shots, some good music, some good cinematography, and some good acting, just enough to keep me at least somewhat interested. But aside from that, a little bit of intrigue in the story, and aside from the amazing kills and the monkey, honestly, I thought the movie was pretty bad and pretty dumb. First of all, there is a ton of humor, especially in the early stages of this movie. They go full horror comedy, pretty much black comedy. I would call this a black comedy or a dark comedy because literally, there's no time you're going to be really scared. There's no time you're going to be horrified or anything like that because there's no tension because it's literally trying to be funny. They're trying to make the kills funny, and sometimes they are. But most of the humor doesn't land. It takes me away from the movie because I've said this recently in other movie reviews this year. Nobody acts like a human being. There are characters, they just don't exist in the real world. An example is one of the early deaths. You got the pastor coming out. It's supposed to be a pastor, works in the church. And he walks out there, he looks at the body, the body that was decapitated and then repaired for the funeral. He's like, oh, fuck, like cussing like right there. And then he's just giving this rambling speech and he's making jokes about how, you know, she's disconnected from the earth. Well,
oh, fuck.
Simply just ridiculously unprofessional and being kind of funny up there and not acting like, you know, like not even intentionally, just like he doesn't know what he's doing. And you have lots of characters like that. You have a real estate agent who's just completely over the top. This lady is just absolutely over the top and not realistic whatsoever. Just, this is the kind of characters that we get in this movie, just side characters who are there to be funny. Hal works at like a Dollar General kind of store, and his boss is also the same way. I can't describe it, you got to see it, but nobody acts like a human being. And the problem is I don't think they're that funny either. I didn't find them funny, I just find them distracting. It's not what I would prefer. I would prefer a serious movie with some humor. I mean, that's fine. I don't mind some genuine laughs from time to time to ease the tension, ease the pressure. But when you have just every character just not acting like a real person, just acting like a goofball, acting like a weirdo just for laughs, and it's not really funny, it's not my thing. I don't like it. I mean, is this a spoof? I mean, that's the excuse I keep getting. Like, it's a spoof movie. Like, Hard Eyes, dude, it's a spoof. Like, it doesn't seem like a spoof. The Naked Gun is a spoof. Okay? Scary Movie, that franchise, those are spoofs. Obviously complete and utter spoofs, not to be taken seriously. They're jokes. These movies obviously are to be taken seriously at some level, especially this one, because the second half gets pretty damn serious. There's like messages in this movie that I don't totally get, but it's something about like, we all die, nothing we do means shit. Damn, that's dark. True, but dark. So look, the comedy was just too much and not funny, and I've said that before. I got a couple laughs here and there. It was funnier than Hard Eyes, but it still wasn't that funny. And I did not enjoy the constant comedy throughout the entire freaking runtime. Also, so much about this movie didn't make sense. Now, I get the kills. We're going to go into the supernatural. So much of this movie also made no sense to me. There are so many plot holes, so many issues. I have so many questions I have. Now, maybe some of those questions can be answered. Maybe there was something I missed. Maybe I just didn't get a few things, and I'll openly admit that. But there are some things, I'll just throw out one example of many. If I do a spoiler, I'll just get into all of this that I can remember. One thing that's constantly said throughout the movie is whoever winds up the toy, that monkey won't kill that person. That was like established throughout the movie. But then you remember to the opening scene, the very first kill, if I'm remembering right, the guy who works at this pawn shop wound up the monkey. The monkey killed this guy, ripped out his intestines. It's a gross scene to start the movie. It was kind of cool. But obviously the guy that winds up the monkey can be killed. That's never established. In fact, it's pretty important detail later on, even though there's some things that even don't make sense there that I'll get into in a spoiler review. But it's pretty important that that's a fact. And that fact is never really challenged the rest of the movie. That seems to be the case. So I don't get that. Just so many problems with the movie from a logic perspective. Maybe there's an answer to some, maybe there's an answer to the one I just said. But even if there is, even if, okay, everything seems to make sense, which I highly doubt. But even if that was the case, I still wouldn't like the movie. There's way too much comedy that's not funny. Nobody acts real. There's no tension. There's no horror. I like the kills. Some of them are like Final Destination, where just happenstance, freak accident. Those I really like, but I understand they didn't want to go full Final Destination. They didn't want to straight copy it, so they decided to go a few steps further and make some of these kills just over the top, insane, ridiculous, not even possible. And I won't spoil any more kills in case you're interested in seeing this movie, but there's a lot of them. And I will say, hey, we complain a lot with these horror movies, like, the kills, they're not, Scream franchise, is a great franchise, but some of these movies, like, the kills are not too creative, it's just the same old stab, whatever. I gotta say, this movie got creative. They got creative. They sat in a room and said, ideas, anyone, ideas on how to kill, how we're going to do some of these kills. Because I don't think they took them all right from the short story. I think a lot of these had to have been created for this film, and some of the kills are just absolutely wild. Another thing that disappointed me, I thought Adam Scott was going to be in this movie. He's in the opening scene. I didn't know going in, but once I saw him, I was like, oh, sick. Adam Scott's going to be in this movie. I like him. He's not in the movie, aside from that opening 5-10 minutes or whatever. Elijah Wood is in this movie. Oh, Elijah Wood's going to be in this movie. He's in it for 5-10 minutes at most. So the recognizable names on the cast, barely in the movie, pretty much cameos. The rest of the cast, the kid character, the kid actor did a pretty good job. I thought he was all right. The adult actor who played the twins, he did okay. I didn't think he looked anything like the kid. I don't even think his personality reminded me of the kid. And I have major question marks about both twins and where they ended up as adults, and where I don't think certain things make any sense whatsoever. But I don't want to spoil anything, but it's really hard to get into specifics. But I think they were probably miscast as adults. And not saying the actor did a terrible job. He didn't remind me anything of the kid. And there are things that are contradictory about the behavior of the adults that make no sense to me. So much of this movie makes no sense. And maybe that's intentional, like, who cares? Have a good time. Dumb fun. I'm getting sick of dumb fun. I'm getting tired of dumb fun. It's an excuse to make a shit movie. And it's not that this movie is the most atrocious ever. I'm just tired of it. I want some quality stuff, okay? When's the next Scorsese movie? We need some quality stuff. But all told, for this film, I gotta say, see it if you're bored, because there are some good, crazy kills in this one. There's a little bit of intrigue. It gets interesting at times, but as a full package, I can't give it a rating any higher than that, because it's just too dumb, makes no sense, logic issues everywhere, and the jokes don't stop. The ridiculous behavior of the humans in this movie, it just takes me completely out. I can understand one off-the-wall character in a movie, but every single character we meet is just completely nuts in this movie and acts like a weirdo and acts like no human being I've ever seen. And to me, that's a problem. But hey, whatever. Let me know what you guys think if you've seen The Monkey. Another disappointment for me here in 2025. Not as bad as Hard Eyes, okay, but not great at all. Have a good day. I hope you guys have been enjoying the movie reviews. I want to keep pumping out movie reviews. I need to do some music reviews as well. I'm going to do some other videos where we're going to talk about random things and topics. So hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and we'll talk to y'all in the next one.